Ladies and gentlemen,
niggas and crackers,
guys, gals,
and non-binary pals, hot girls and city boys,
saints and ain'ts,
and all our Harlem family, welcome to your very own podcast.
We're back. We are finally in the building virtually. It's Rona season. Welcome to a special edition of Harlem's very own, our first virtual recording. As always, I am your co-host, Justin K. Winley, aka Jason Born Again, aka Charlemagne but with manners, aka the Slim Reaper, aka the Lean Mean Cocoa Bean, joined by
Yo, what's up? It's your other co-host, Jude Ali Steffers-Wilson, a.k.a. Sinbad Stefanucci, a.k.a. Clark Gable, a.k.a. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn, a.k.a. Where is my super suit? You better tell me where my suit is, woman. We are talking about the great or good, and a.k.a. Ali Soprano. What's poppin'?
Beautiful. That feels so good to do again. And we have a few guests with us today. We're going to start ladies first. We have Kiara.
Ladies first. Ladies first.
I'm Kiara Jones, aka Kiana Temple, aka Harlem Hot Girl, aka Little Miss Quarantine, aka Unemployed. I need a job.
Ooh, I fuck with the quarantine.
And following up with the maestro of mess himself, Mr.
Wow.
Oh, he
Ahmad
do that. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Ahmad Simmons, Kevin Simmons, aka Black Zeus, aka the ASAP Rocky himself, ASAP Aki. We're gonna modify that, and then we're gonna it's the Afro Samurai in the building. It's all love. It's all love.
And finally, we have a friend of the show returning.
What's
I hope she can, she can top her.
Good. I'm a friend. I'm officially a friend of the show. It is the queen of quarantine, the original Wheezy. Pass me my inhaler because I got asthma. Mocahontas, the Afro-Latina princess. Spell my name right. It's in my email signature. It's Abril. What's up? Happy to be here.
I'm so excited to have everyone here. Thank you, those of you who obviously, who listen. It has been a journey trying to get the show back up and running, with everything that's happened. But I think we have a nice formula for it now. So the guests that we have today, Kiara and Ahmad, are both recent graduates. I've known them both for a pretty long time. Kiara, I've known since Sunday school. We go way back. And Ahmad, I went to high school with. So we just wanted to kind of bring on some recent graduates, both from Harlem, to talk about life right now, what it was like to kind of have their final semester interrupted, what their career goals were when they started college and how they've changed, not only over the course of university, but also in the light of everything we're doing. Abril is in the workforce herself. She's not that much older than we are. So we just wanted
graduated 5 minutes ago.
Wanted to have a nice and easy conversation about life. So I'm just gonna open it up. Whoever wants to start. I'm eating my sour worms. Ahmad and Kiara, y'all work it out between yourselves.
Always snacking.
Right.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Kiara. Go ahead.
Well, so I went to Temple University. I was a journalism.
Oh shit! My sister went to Temple.
Really?
Yeah. My sister. I'm sorry to interrupt you off the jump, but like, my sister. Shouts out LaShawn. My sister is working at HvO now, and she was, and that's where she met her husband. Their Temple wedding.
That's fire.
And she's an AKA sorority girl.
She's living the life I want to live.
Yo, I'll talk to her for you.
Please do.
Got you, sis.
Yeah, that's also really interesting that you bring that up, because this whole entire thing, the Rona, the virus, COVID-19, as professional people say, it kind of really interrupted my whole entire flow at school. But when I first started Temple, it was a really big adjustment because everyone thinks that Temple's an HBCU and it's not. So I went in there, like I'm gonna see a bunch of Black people. That was not the case at all.
Mm.
All the majority of my classes freshman year were full of white people. I was one of 2 Black girls in a lot of my classes, which was kind of like similar from high school because I went to Beacon. So
That's right.
yeah.
Wow.
So it just kept going.
Remember Beacon, bro?
Wait, y'all got beef with Beacon?
No,
We not
we
necessarily.
just hear some stuff. We just heard some stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know.
I heard
we
kids
were
from
only a
Beacon
few
were
blocks
wild.
away from each other, so
That's very true. Before we moved, we got an upgrade.
right. Oh, okay.
Upgrade, yeah.
Throwing a little bit of dirt, but I'm gonna let you finish.
A little dirt.
But yeah, it was just such a strange experience. I don't think people can prepare you as much as they want to for college, going away to school, but it's like until you get there, you really don't know what to expect or what you're going to encounter. Like you're forced to grow up in such a short period of time because your parents aren't really there to stop you from doing something. Like they'll be like, don't go left, and it's like they really will stop you. But when you're away at school, it's like you have to make that decision for yourself. And
Exactly.
I think that the adjustment at first was just trying to find friends that were real and finding people who like you can depend on because like they become your family. And I'm glad I was fortunate enough to have that. So yeah.
When in school did you feel like you were able to fully take responsibility of yourself? Like what was an initial situation you were like, yo, I'm an adult now in school?
Well, I did not know how to do laundry before I went to school, so that was
that's a reality check.
I still got my shit done. I still got the Chinese lady on the block doing my shit.
So I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm very uncomfortable. I don't want to mess up my clothes.
That's funny.
And I called my mom. She said, "Girl, figure it out." I said, "Okay, this is what I'm doing." And that was really difficult. Also, like things close early, so sometimes I had sleep for dinner. So that was like the reality of things too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Talk a little bit about if you care to your decision to pursue journalism specifically and what drew you to that. I mean, my dad, I should also say, because he won't let me forget it if I don't. He also went to Temple. He's a proud
your dad
owl.
was Temple too?
Yeah, he used to have the little owl like plaque somewhere, a little sticker somewhere in the house. So yeah, he definitely. I remember when you found out you got in and you were going, he was over the moon. He was like, yes. He loves everyone who goes to Temple. So yeah, what drew you to journalism?
Well, I love to write. That was something that I really wanted, and I knew that I wanted to be a broadcast journalist. So I was like, I know that I want to use that platform to be like on media, to be on TV. And I was trying to figure out how can I use this to help other people, especially growing up in Harlem. I see a lot of people who can't really advocate for themselves. So I said, that's something that I want to do. So I was like, I really enjoy doing this. This is like something that I can major in. So let me do it.
Right.
What's a source that inspired you to become a journalist? Like, what's like a news outlet that you get your news from, and you're like, I want to do this kind of reporting?
Yeah. Aside from Twitter, definitely like Essence. In high school, you have to read the New York Times all the time. Basically, anything. I really love Exo Nicole. It's not. I wouldn't really call them like a. I guess I don't want to say that they're not professional, but like on the level of the New York Times, but something like that where I can really be like the voice for Black women and women of color everywhere. So yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. We're gonna circle back. Thank you for that little introduction. Ahmad, sir. Now you took a different path, obviously, but you continued, the route you'd started in high school. For those who don't know, Ahmad was a vocal major at LaGuardia High School. We were in the same class of 16, one of the best classes in LaGuardia history. What's that, Jude?
He was serenading the shorties?
Yeah, he definitely was. There was actually one performance. I remember.
Sorry.
I remember. What was it? It was one of the BSU productions, and they had you. Yeah, Black Cabaret, and they had Ahmad oiled up in like a torn up, like
wow,
cloth
with
the spear
oil.
and the
I can tell this story in an expansive
Looking like sexy T'Challa. Shit!
So this was during rehearsals, right? And Samel came to me when we were rehearsing, and she said, "Well, in this skit, we're gonna need you. Well, we're asking you, can you have your shirt off in it? You know, since like
no, you were right the first time. We gonna need you to have that shirt off, bro.
They say, you're an African warrior, so we're like, if it's possible." And I was like, literally, my first time taking my shirt off from in front of everybody. So I was like, okay. So I took the shirt off, and I felt 10 pairs of eyes. I felt them on me.
How old were you?
I mean, this was senior year.
Shit!
Yeah. So I was 18, and they, and everybody was hyped.
They had to catch you when you were 18, huh?
Listen, man.
That had to wait.
That's just the universe right there, okay? Because I told them, I said it as a joke, and I said, "Listen, don't make me bring baby oil on the day of the cabaret." And they said, "You're not going to do it." So I brought the shit, and I put it on the table, and I said, "Who gonna oil me and Deron up?" Because Deron was there as well. So everybody was like, "Me, I'm gonna do it." Kimmy was first in line. She said, "I'm doing it."
Oh, of course she was.
She said,
"I know she was right there." That's a name drop, by the way, for those of you who don't know. Deron Jones, currently starring on Broadway in West Side Story. Again, LaGuardia class of 16. Really just doing it big.
That's my boy. He's doing the thing. I ran into him when I was in Brooklyn. And he was like making his way home from the show. So, it was really good to chop it.
Did you see, and then I'm going to segue into what I'm actually asking you about, but did you see that tabloid thing going around about him meeting up with dancing with Vanessa Hudgens at the club?
I did, and I commented on that, and I said, "Bro, you better get that."
I said that would be the pull of the generation.
It will be.
If you got with Vanessa Hudgens, but I don't know. Behind closed doors, maybe.
It's going to be the real High School Musical mixed with the fake High School Musical coming together. You feel me?
Wow.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I still haven't.
We were the inspiration.
It's a spicy episode.
Yeah, we're not even 15 minutes in, by the way. So, Ahmad, so yes, you were a vocal major.
Yeah.
What was the audition process like for you? I mean, because obviously you knew that you wanted to go to conservatory, I'm guessing. So,
so you saying my audition going into LaGuardia or going into Columbia?
Into college, I mean.
Well, there was not an audition process. There was a placement. The audition process was for the BFA degree, but I, for one, when I got there, let's start when it was the open house. I came to Chicago even before I became a freshman because my cousin went there as a photography major. So he lived in one of the dorms, and I stayed over there for the weekend. So I was looking, viewing and sightseeing all day in Chicago. I'm like, yo, this is dope. Like, Chicago is a really nice place to be. I'm so serious. And during the open house, I meet one of the people that is one of my best friends to this day. She was my day one friend. And we were sitting right next to each other. So she was pursuing dance as I was pursuing musical theater. So being at that place, they've given me all the facts and all the opportunities that I think in my head, like, okay, well, once I get here, I have a much better understanding as to the teachers that I'll talk to and also the people that I'll surround myself with.
Right.
So during the placements, it was dance and singing. So I sang my song, and I was placed in the advanced theater singing class. As for dance, I was in the beginner because it was like a formally dance class. So I was like, okay, not really that. It's not my bread and butter right there. So I'm gonna definitely do what I got to do there. With that being said, I got an email, I'd say a couple months into my freshman year, of me getting a spot for auditioning onto their mainstay show, which was Once on This Island. Now, for that, in the email, they said, we don't want any non-Black people auditioning for this show.
Oh,
shit.
period.
When I tell you, white folks were mad. They were mad. Oh my God. I felt the energy in the room because they said it in person with every theater person in the theater. They were like, so we're going to have auditions coming next week. As we said in the email, if you are not a person of color, do not come to the audition.
Don't even think about it.
Wow.
It was quiet. It was quiet in the musical theater, and I laughed my ass off. So
what did I say? The maestro of mess.
Listen, and so literally, I'm talking with one of my friends, and someone who is a junior. She comes up to me, and she's like, "Hi, how you doing? My name is Madeline." And so my boy introduced himself, and I introduced myself, and she said, "Wait, you're the Ahmad Simmons?" And I said,
"The?"
I was like, who is that? Like, oh my God, Nicholas Bader's been talking about you. So he was the person that gave me he notified me from of the audition. But it's sad to say I did not go.
Why not?
Because I did not have, but I felt I did not have anything prepared to say or do in the show, and I got so nervous, and that was one of the big regrets because that show was awesome when I saw it. So
I can imagine.
After that moment when I talked to Nicholas, unfortunately, he was like, I think 26, 27, where he had passed away, like I think last year. But
oh shit,
yeah, he was one of the greatest stage managers I've known in my life. And when he told me about that, and he said, "Yo, you have something that is great. Just keep doing what you got to do." Ever since then, my second semester of freshman year, I was in a main stage musical. So I was in 6 of them.
That's beautiful.
So
yeah,
man.
Well, I mean, you a beast. We already knew that. And what you said actually was kind of one of the things I was gonna my next question is I was gonna ask, like, what moments, not necessarily to belabor this, but what moments, if any, were there during, because you both attended predominantly white institutions.
Oh yeah.
Were there moments where you felt that, and we'll start with Kiara again, there was kind of a preference being given or skewed, maybe away from people of color on your campus, especially in your majors specifically, because you two have majors that I think are, because they have so much to do with visibility and representation. You're really in key spots for, like, you're prime targets for this sort of like bigotry to happen, I think. So I'm just curious to know maybe some war stories, quote unquote, about things that might have happened.
Talk about
Key.
Yeah. I feel like, especially like what you're saying, like in the journalism department, there was a lot of whitewashing of shows. So like our talk shows, our news outlet shows, there's just a lot of like, if you don't fit this, I'm blonde, I'm from the suburbs, that vibe, like you weren't necessarily going to get chosen. And so I was like one of the co-hosts of my school's talk show. And a lot of my friends who I was encouraging to audition, I was like, y'all got this, audition. They were like, no, it's okay. And I would ask them, like, why don't you want to do it? And they were like, well, usually on the show, they usually have that one black girl, which was you. They have like, the fabulous gay man. They have the skinny, pretty white girl. And then they have another random white girl thrown into there. So it's just kind of like everyone saw that it was like a continuing cycle where it was just like, if you don't fit that mold or if you weren't what they were looking for at that point in time, don't even try. So it's like the only role you could really have was like work the camera, be a stage manager, help set up. It was like, not that we don't want to see you, but like, this is what we're so used to. We're not going to try to do anything to change it.
Right. And that's one of the I guess I want to say dangerous, or not dangerous, but tricky things about like diversity. And I'm sure Jude has might have something to say about this too, but like it becomes so focused on like checking boxes. It's like, well, we just have to have one of each.
Yep.
Like we have to have a black woman. We have to have at least one black woman. We have to have at least one gay person. We have to have at least, you know what I mean? And so then rather than actually evaluating, because I think that ultimately diversity is about much more than color. I mean, Jude,
course,
one of the cool things, one of the reasons, you know, Jude and I started this podcast is we're pretty different people. I mean, obviously we have enough in common to be friends for 5 years now, and like, you know, we're making this work, but you know, we're pretty different. I'm Christian. He is not explicitly religious in any way. You know, that's he's
Jude is explicit, but not in religion.
in every way but that. No, but you know, he's from East Harlem, I'm from West Harlem. You know, he grew up with uh, uh, parents from different backgrounds themselves. He had a black father and a white mother. So like, there's differences. That there's a like a black kid from New York is different from a black kid in Ohio, from a black kid in Britain. You know, so I think that it's as much about the internal. Jude.
Nah, I'm actually kind of lost on that one. Ain't gonna say because that's why we started the podcast. Absolutely.
So that's a really important point, Kiara. Ahmad, I'm sure you have. I mean, I know you have. It's not even like I've heard some of these, some of your frustrations.
Okay, so I would say that diversity in the musical theater world is basically as what it is. Like they want, you know, a couple black people to be in the light to show like, hey, diversity is here. You know, boom, this is what you get. But the thing is that there are some shows that go on in the school as to where like sometimes it can be a little bit of a problem. Like for one, there was a show that went on, it was called Conference of the Birds, and it was supposed to be mainly women of color. Mind you, there were mostly white people that was auditioning for this show.
Wait, it was called Conference of the Birds, and it was supposed to be for black women?
Yeah, I think the premise of it is like
that is actually
because
yo,
yeah, it's I don't
not a good name, man.
I don't know too much about the show, so I don't want to go fully into it. But
I'm gonna Google that shit right now.
But I think it's like it's definitely something that it involves with. It's something that involves with symbolism of it, but the director didn't really see it that way, nor did he acknowledge that. And so, you know, once you know black women were speaking to him about it, he went ahead and changed most of the things that went on. But I'll talk about my things that involve with diversity, and as far as with being a musical theater major, black music theater major at a PWI. I have a story. I have two stories.
Okay.
So I don't know why, but I think like when it comes to theater or musical theater as a whole, they just want to mess with black people's hair. It's like it's a problem. It's like a whole problem.
Dude, I could go. Yeah.
Okay.
What happened?
So this was during sophomore year, and we were putting on the show Sweet Charity, and we actually put on Sweet Charity at LaGuardia, where Timothy Chalamet was Oscar.
Wait, Timothy Chalamet went to your school?
Yeah.
Oh, bro, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Timothy Chalamet was.
He was a.
You're his face. Timothy Chalamet was a senior when we were freshmen.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
He was already working. He was on Homeland by that point, that TV show.
Crazy.
And then he got Interstellar, and then you know, one thing led to another. Jarrell Jerome was in The Great Above Us.
Jarrell Jerome.
Who? Oh yeah. That one I know. Amir, like, shouts out to Amir. Always shouts out
Jarrell.
Boy, yeah, Jarrell. I keep forgetting. I'm about to say boy from
Moonlight.
Yeah, what was this nigga in now? Like,
he was in Moonlight. He was in
When They See Us.
When They See Us and Moonlight.
Yeah,
the man does good work. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a dynamite couple years there. But yeah, so Sweet Charity.
Sweet Charity, he was playing the role of Oscar, and I saw the preview. I only saw a couple minutes of it because I fell asleep. But years later, did not know that I would be in the show. So while we were doing tech for the show, My two directors, they came up to me, both white. I'll add some specifics in there, and they came to me and they said, "Ahmad, you ever thought about cutting your hair for the show?" Mind you, my hair is in twists, so and I told myself I'm growing my hair out to its fullest extent. I feel like I want to cut it off.
Right.
People pay me a good amount of money, then I'll cut it off.
Right.
So she came to me and she said, "You ever thought about cutting your hair for the show?" And I literally,
one thing I'm cutting is the check.
Right. And with no hesitation, I said no. And she was like, "Oh, huh. Well, we're looking for a '60s type of hairstyle for everybody." I'm like, "Well, you basically told Ariel, who's black as well, to keep her hair, and you told my friend Alon, who's black, two lovely black women in the music theater world who are doing their thing, like they're doing it professionally now. I'm telling you, but I'm just adding a little plug out there. They kept their hair. Why would you want me to cut my hair for some reason? Like you thinking that I don't give a damn about it. I'm gonna cut all this off for your satisfaction. Mind you, you're not paying me in the first place." So we fast forward a couple weeks later, and they're like, "Well, you ever thought about slicking it back?" Now, mind you, at the time, I'm like, "That's not gonna work because I got hats on and I'm doing choreo. I'm gonna be sweating. My hair's gonna be it's gonna be fucked up,
rough."
I told them this is not working, and I said, "Listen, let me wear my braids." Black people wore braids in the '60s. It's fine, and they were like, "Well, due to your character, like braids is not his thing." And I say, "Y'all are really right now." I said, "Y'all are really killing me right now." And he said,
"First of all, why did y'all cast me anyway?
If this is a whole problem, if my hair is a whole problem, and mind you, there's like 8 other black men in the show, and I came to them about it, and they're like, "What the hell is wrong with them?" So they said, "Okay, you can keep the braids, but we're gonna put a wig cap on some scenes, and you're gonna wear an afro wig."
You already have an afro though.
So you want
So that and I looked at them real close, and I just wanted to slap the fire out of their ass. Like I wanted to, and I was like, I'm gonna get kicked out the show. I can't yell at them because they're gonna be like, "Oh, the angry black man is coming out." So, I see the wig. It looked like Tito Jackson was reborn on my face. Like I swear.
Sorry, Tito.
I had to shave my face. I looked like Tito Jackson. They couldn't even pick the hair out. Mind you, some white folks were like, "Oh, let me like do some stuff to your hair." I said, "First of all, you are not touching my hair. Not
stay away from me."
I'm in another show, and with a white director, and my hair is out, and he said, "Okay, so Ahmad, you ever thought about like we're gonna put a beanie on top of your head, but we're thinking, since you have your braids in right now, just take the braids out and just stuff your hair into the beanie, and then at the end of the show, just take it off, and then just everybody was like, "Oh my God, he has hair." I said, "Hey Adam, you're white. My hair is not animated, so let's cut that out right now." Okay, and he was like,
he thought it was gonna be a Disney movie.
He thought it was gonna be a Disney movie. I was a goofy movie. Like, no.
Wow.
No. So he was like, okay, all right. I'm sorry. So yeah, but I would say that I'm like 50-50 on it because black folk in my music theater department, we be taking these roles. We take these roles, and the white folks get mad. Oh, they do. They get mad, but they're glad at the same time.
Right.
Yo,
Bobby Strong in Urinetown, that's a white role.
That's a main role, dude. That was incredible that you got that.
So literally, I did not think that I would get that role, but once I was talking to my friend Naomi, who was the stage manager, and she was talking to the casting director. She was like, "Well, what do you think? Like, who's going to be the 2 principal roles?" And Stephanie, who was the director, she said, "If Ahmad and Lizzie are not those roles, then we don't know if we'll have a good show.
Mm.
Oh shoot.
Period.
So that
Jude, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask all of you, Justin included, do you ever feel like you had to experience tokenism or like a forced
yeah.
a
Oh,
forced diversity where you're like, yo, you're shoving this random black character down someone's throat, or
Do you
shoving this,
know?
you're
Yeah,
shoving something down someone's throats, and it's not working. Do you ever feel like that you didn't working out in a film, but they needed to fill up a quota?
I'll hop on that first because what Ahmad said, just even about hair, black hair, on film and in stage, on stage and in film. Sorry, triggered me a bit. I think it's so super important to, if you have even one black actor, have someone who knows how to deal with that with our hair, and it's not a matter of like, because it's not problematic. It just requires more skill. I mean, it's there is a, and I have personal experience with this because when I shot my first feature, um, the one of the weird things about it was we were shooting. Basically, I had like 2 weeks on set, like all told, or maybe a week actually, because it was, even though there was 2 different weeks I was shooting, it was only a few days per week, and each time I'd come back, right, uh, my hairline would obviously have like, it would have started to grow back in. And there was this lady, this white lady. Now, bless her heart, she was doing her best, but I was like, yeah, you're going to have to straighten this again for continuity. If we're doing like a scene that takes place earlier or whatever, I have to look the same as I did last week when my hair was shaped up. So she was like, okay, well, I guess I can just do that. She, so she took this electric razor and she would like line it up each time, but each day I came in and she did it, she would push my hairline further up my forehead, which is why, and you can see this,
Oh,
you can see it in the film, you might notice it in the film relative to
the
what it
Adam Sandler
actually
joint
is.
you were in?
Yeah, but also if you look at photos of me during Into the Woods, Ahmad, my high school, my final senior performance as the prince, my hair was like, there was a stratosphere between like my eyebrows and where my hair, it was ridiculous. And it was at the point where when I finished filming, I remember walking into the basement and Travis Rayburn saw me and he
Yes.
said, bro, what happened to your hair, bro? And I was like, yeah, man, don't, because it was literally like, it was like magic marker, like
Oh
my
God,
hairline was here,
yo,
but it was also here.
I
So
got
that's it's super important. But to get to your question, Jude,
it.
something that I think about often is the fact that my role was written as and it's in the script, was written as a blonde haired white kid. And I always wondered, at like a while after I auditioned and filmed, even like past that, I was watching the movie and then I thought after a while and I was like, did I get the part on merit or on like necessity, you
Yeah,
know? And that's something that kind of, I don't know, like I mean, I'm in it either way and I'm grateful. I'm eternally grateful, but it does make
absolutely.
me wonder. It gives me pause for sure.
Mhm.
Um, Kiara, I mean, tokenism maybe isn't exactly, oh, it is. It's very similar.
Or just
And
forced diversity, like when they just put in a random character, like, yo, why they do that?
yeah.
Like when they made Michael B. Jordan the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four movie, you're like, why they do that?
Yeah, right.
Like, you didn't need to do that. We don't need to see another black man on fire. Like, come on, like,
Oh,
See?
you know what I'm saying? Like,
hmm,
Didn't think about
hmm.
or in the Power. Yo, what
Is
pissed me
that
off?
Dr. Umar? Is that
Yo,
Dr.
what made me
Umar?
mad though? What made me really upset was the Power Rangers. The fact that the Black Ranger was not black,
Listen,
and he was eight. They had to do that whole switch, and I was just really upset because the racism in Power Rangers was tasteful. Okay, but
it.
If you're gonna be racist, at least have class about
you
it,
know, like, and we all love. Who doesn't love Zach? Like, come on. But
right?
Wow.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a thing. Ahmad or Kiara, either of you want to speak to,
go ahead,
your personal experience?
Well, first, I know Travis too, so that was funny. I forget everybody knows Travis.
Yeah, he's all over the place.
But to like add to your point, I feel like that just starts like imposter syndrome, because then you start to think like,
Mm,
I deserve to be here. Am I here because I'm as amazing as they claim that I am, or am I legitimately amazing? And I think
right,
that we have to unlearn to feel that way. But there are times when I'm just kind of like, definitely needed me here because you were like, there's a black girl, there's Kiara, let me go get her, as opposed
right,
to being like, she like would be great for this. And I
right.
think it's like you have to not feel like, it lets you feel like, wow, am I undeserving of this? And it makes you question sometimes, like, is this me? And I feel like that's something that I had to deal with, especially with like getting internships or like other job opportunities.
Yeah. And I'm actually curious, like when it comes to journalism, because obviously, as actors, it's after people see us work a certain number of times, they develop an idea of what things suit us. But
Mm-hmm.
like, how does it work in journalism? Like, what, how do people determine like what, or how do you determine what you bring to journalism? Is it like the things that you're interested in, or is it like the way you deliver? Obviously they teach you, I guess, to an extent, like delivery, especially in broadcast
Right.
journalism. But like, yeah, what is that like? What is your brand as a journalist?
Well, I want to do entertainment news, but then I
Okay.
also wouldn't mind doing hard news, but I get less opportunities for hard news because everyone just always sees me as like an entertainment journalist. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of like interviewing people about like what they wore, or like how they feel about a certain topic, or like musicians, or like very
Mm-hmm.
like fluff pieces. But lately, everyone's also been trying to get me into weather, but like I have no intention of telling people that it's going to rain or be sunny. So, like that's not really my energy. That's not my vibe. So it's
Right.
like I feel like people just put you in a certain box depending on like what they already see on the news.
Yeah,
So it's just like she looks like she could do that. Like they also want me to
that's a
get
really
into
good point.
sports because there aren't a lot of like black women who report on sports, but that's not something like I'm interested in. Like you can't tell me like if someone said LeBron James did so and so, I'd be like, that's cute, that's cool, but like I can't
What does that have to do with me? No, exactly.
whatsoever. So it's like, yeah, we do kind of get pigeonholed to like certain topics and genres depending on like how you look, how people see you. Your voice matters a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that's like always put me in a certain position to be considered for certain things.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm,
it's interesting. I mean, I would think that you have a deeper voice relative to a lot of women I know, but
right.
and so I don't know like what, because to me, if I think of a deep voice woman, then I'm thinking like investigative investigation discovery. Like you come out in the warehouse and you're like
Right,
on
with the trench coat.
April 12th, 1978. Yeah, but yeah, that's a really good insight. I want to shift gears just a little bit because Abril has been very quiet, and I want to let her actually um, talk. So,
Let's go, sis.
I'm
Abril, the
usually
key.
never this quiet, but I was so interested in learning about, because you guys all do something so different from what I do, and you're all good at things that I'm not good at. So I'm just sitting here like inspired, you know?
Yeah, well, you're inspiring too, Abril, and
Aw.
and one of the things, obviously, like I said up top, we wanted to kind of talk to someone who's, a few steps onto the other side now and has been working. I guess just talk a little bit about like what it is you do, what your day to day is, and then eventually, we will obviously get into the Corona part of the conversation, but just to kind of get an introduction, because obviously the first time you were on, we were just all talking about music, but our listeners may not actually know, you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I work in the nonprofit field. I work for a nonprofit. And I work specifically with volunteers and partners and donors. And so I this like became I kind of like fell into this by accident because I was part of a business program in high school which I never intended to be in. I was actually really interested in the arts, but I was way too shy to tell my guidance counselor that I was actually in the wrong class. So
Mm,
I stuck with it with business. I ended up really enjoying it. And then I through college and now after college, I worked for the business program from my high school. which was a nonprofit. So it's like a unique track. I was always like, you were talking about Kiara, about imposter syndrome and things like that, and I definitely had that because I went to Baruch College, and everyone there is like very businessy, very diverse. Don't get me wrong. So I do have a different experience in that, but everyone there was like super like finance bros, everybody wearing like 3-piece suits for no reason, and I'm just like in my Old Navy outfits, like what's good. But so I've always just for like a while now I've been really into that business track, but more so on the side of like the nonprofits and just kind of how I could give back in some way, which was very different to like the business school kind of vibe. And also everybody in my school was interning at all these different companies, and I was like sticking it through with like one place, and it ended up being really a great option for me because I got a job right after college with them. So that's like a really great, it was great to be part
We
of
love
that.
that.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that's interesting that you how you describe sort of like falling into it. I'm curious how you and Jude met.
That's funny too because we
It's
met
not funny.
working at a restaurant. Well, so I had before I had started interning at my company, I was working at Ricardo Steakhouse. I was a host,
Yep.
which honestly, I will tell everybody that jobs like, waitress, hostess, bartender, all those things have such great skill sets that you develop on the job
Yes.
that work
Yo, it's crazy.
future jobs. Because the reason I took that hostess job, well, I knew the owner, and well, my mom knew the owner, and they were like longtime friends, and they worked together, and he got me the job, and then I was like really nervous about it because I just didn't like. I'm very friendly with people, but I'm also sometimes like shy and like intimidated by people. Like, oh my god, they're so much, more interesting than me or
Yo, I
whatever.
thought April was mad mean.
No, that's I literally would
I
walk.
thought April was mad mean.
I was, I must have been so annoying to work with for the other waiters and stuff because I was just like a young college kid. Like, oh my god, I'm just delighted to be here, and they're all like, "I got bills to pay, girl." Like, I was like, I'm learning so much about my communication skills here, and they're like, "Please stop. I've been on
Get
my
out of my
for
face.
10
These
hours."
niggas got kids and shit. Like,
Yo, but how me and Jude met, I don't even know. I think Jude is the type to just go up to people and be like, "Yo, what's
yeah,
up?"
nah, like 'cause all the time there'll be a new girl in Ricardo's because that's just what happened.
Yes.
It's a spot where drug dealers who relive their glory days hang out, and they have pretty
Yes.
young ladies as bartenders, hostesses, waitresses, and they're always coming in. And I see April, and she's not bougie. She's not wild. She's just like this, like chill girl. I'm like, oh, let me go talk to her, say what's up. And I was like, what, like 15 or 16 when you met me?
Yeah, you were such a little baby, and I was like, "What is this baby doing here?" Like,
Yo, I was working there since I was 12. I was working there when I was prepubescent, man. Like,
yo, I was like, "Who is
Jude
this
was a
kid who's
child
just
laborer,
showing up?"
apparently.
I
I was
was.
like, "Who is this kid just showing up with a broom and just sweeping and playing?" And it was so funny because once me and Jude became friends, like we were like inseparable, and people would always be like, "Are y'all like, hello, like, can y'all chill?" And we would. I remember my favorite thing to do was when we would plug the iPad that was connected to like the music to the
Oh,
sound,
yup.
and then we would just be playing like Jude would come in like, "Yo, you heard that new Kendrick?" And I was like, "Yo!" And like we would just plug it in, blast it. Everybody else was like,
Yo,
"Where is the bachata? Where is we are trying
bro,
to prepare
We
ourselves
are in
for a long
East
break."
Harlem.
it was all the bachata and all the Michael Jackson that no one likes. There's no Beat It.
Yes.
There's no Thriller. It's like, don't stop till you get enough.
Oh my god, I had some of the songs that they played over and over again at that restaurant. Like if I heard it outside of the restaurant, I got triggered. Like
Yo.
it was like
100%.
PTSD. It really.
But I think actually what's even scarier is when you like a song that's played over all the time at your job.
Yes.
Because I don't know if that's me liking it or if I've just been conditioned and like
Can I have a song?
Huh?
Can you tell me a song?
Oh God. Okay, this is slightly embarrassing. You know what? It's not embarrassing because I'm 22 years old and I like what I like. So some of you will know. I used to actually, most of you who listen will know because I read my 2 weeks notice on the show. I used to work at TJ Maxx. I worked there for a little over a year. And retail is much like Abril was saying. It's a place that you do learn a lot of skills, mostly just dealing with people, especially when you're at the front end, because it's a million tiny interactions per week. That just like that accumulate. They played. I remember. Well, this is not the answer. One time I was super surprised. We were closing and they played Tiana Taylor. You Gonna Love Me. Is that what the song's called?
With Method Man?
Oh, you're gonna love me.
Yeah.
You're gonna wanna hold
Yes,
me.
Gonna Love Me.
I was
love
like
that one.
I was like, what? Where are we? Like, is this like a nightclub? But the song that I actually started to really like, one of the songs was this Dua Lipa song called I Can Be the One. I just like, it's a bop. It would come on and I'd be like, oh, here's this Dua Lipa song again. But then once your foot starts tapping while you're sorting your cash register, it's quiet. It's a wrap. Yeah, that definitely is a thing. But I think that's beautiful. I mean, I call I kind of tease Jude. I call him the hero of East Harlem because it's like walking with him is like walking around with Luke Cage, like on on that whole side of the borough. Like he knows every third person, and so it's beautiful. When he referred Abril to us the first time as a guest for the show. I wound up being super satisfied and happy that like I made this connection because Abril is dope.
She's the dopest, man. I'm telling you.
And so, yeah, that ties into I guess the larger conversation. Obviously, COVID. If you guys didn't know, hey, did you guys know?
Oh, we didn't know.
What's it called again? I thought isn't that like a beer from Mexico? Vin Diesel likes to drink it on Fast and Furious.
Yeah. So, obviously, this is one of the not even one of it's the biggest monkey wrench in anyone's plans ever. And I am curious to know for Ahmad and Kiara, almost like a where were you type of thing when like you realized, oh, school's over. Like what was that like for you, especially as seniors?
Well, that was a tough one to go through. I for one can say that when they were talking about COVID and how it entered into the U.S., everybody was so optimistic. They were like, "It's gonna pass. We're cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to affect our school. It's fine." But then as it started getting closer and closer, I'm like, I'm doing stage combat, about to get my certification. I'm about to. I'm in Urinetown. We're about to get this show up and running, and I'm in my active senior showcase. As for casting directors, talent agents, and directors to look at us doing our monologues and want to have wanting them to have us for their shows. And on top of that is the people that I've met, the friendships that I've built or began to build with folks are going down the drain. And so it was at the time where everybody was saying we're gonna be open throughout all this. It's cool. But then once one person caught the virus, they said everybody got to go. Literally, I'll estimate like 5 to 6 days.
Damn.
For they were saying everybody got to be gone at this time. Mind you, they were first saying we're gonna be open, so people that were international kids, they were like, okay, let's not stay here. So they were already on their flights back home.
Right.
But for me and everybody else, they're like, okay, cool, we're gonna stay right here. But then when they told us that we got to go, we're like, now we got to pay for these flights that are just around the corner and just make our way back home and live the lives that we were having before we came to school, staying home.
Yeah.
And
That was a
it was it was like the one night that will always remember it ever in my life. That is like the most monumental moment ever was that show of Year in Town. They
yeah.
told us, my director, she had brought everybody in the cast onto the stage and it was saying that COVID is happening, but we're going to have one night, and that will be, which was the day of our dress rehearsal slash faculty run, and they said we're going to put the show on that day. We only had 3 days of tech week, 3 days of tech. It was no band. It was just, working with cue lights and the sound. No band. We was working it through. And then when they told us that, it was like I was so angry. I was so mad because I was like, all of this stuff is happening, and now it is like it's gone. I can't do that in person thing. Like, not to mention, like, we're doing a digital showcase, which is fine. But with stage combat, I don't know when I'm going to be able to go back to Chicago and finish my certification. And all those dates of the show is down the drain. But the first thing I did when they told us that, everybody was crying, went upstairs, and I put 3 dents in the dressing room. And
damn,
I was
bro.
so mad. I was so mad because of everything that was going on. Everything that was so positive in my last semester of college is now about to go away. But on that night, the director said we're going to invite everybody from Columbia, all the faculty, and we're going to bring them into the theater. We're going to have one night to pull this off. And we don't even give a fuck about the fire hazard amount of people. We packed that theater out to its fullest, and I mean fullest potential. And when we heard that, when we heard them applaud and cheer, even before we got on the stage, we knew that this show and this night would go down in Columbia's history. And it most definitely did, because of the roaring of the audience, every movement, every word, every line we was singing, every song, every bit of choreography that was going on. It was like a dream that is now gone. But it's in our heads. It's in everybody's heads. And for myself to see, wow, to see me growing up and growing mentally and physically in that school because of the fucked up things that were going on in my life at that time, the year before. I did not see myself being that, like, portraying that role and having everybody look at me in my face as I'm singing all these songs for them. And then once I sing that one song that everybody knew from that show, even before I sang it, that one note start, everybody started to cheer because they knew what was going to happen, and I got the biggest standing ovation I ever got in my entire life. That shit was fucking amazing. At the end of that show, I cried in front of everybody in that audience. And that joint right there, no one saw me, no one ever saw me cry before, and that was a little weird to some folks, but they knew that this is the last time, this will be like last time in a while that they would ever see a show be put on. So I came back, I was sitting in that bed, it was like 2 a.m, and I was listening to DJ D Nice. Yeah, and he had, it was like, he put on the song For All We Know by Donny Hathaway, and I said I haven't heard this song in years, so I put that on, and I cried that thing. But after all those tears, I knew in my head, I said that I cannot stop here. This is only this is only a setback that will be gone. Hopefully sooner than later, and we're gonna get back on track because that was a big halt,
Yeah.
for a lot of people that are graduating as everybody else. It's
Yeah.
gonna be hard trying to get back into that field once this thing is lifted. A lot of people are struggling.
Are you
Right.
thinking of masters after all this? Because
I'm
this is your senior year.
I'm thinking about it, and I'm gonna like wait a while. I'm not gonna go straight into that. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna dive right in. I was set to be in Broadway Bound Kids program as a teacher assistant with one of the teachers that had brought me in, and they're going through things that is involved with like funds, and I was going to be teaching at the martial arts school, but it's just a little setback right now. So once the thing is lifted, I'll be ready to get back into work and then get ready to audition and all that, and then we'll
Mm.
have talks of me getting the masters.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's beautiful, bro. I felt that, man. I mean, it is. I think that what you experienced that night was really just a release of a lot of the tension you built up over those 4 years, and it's almost cinematic the way that like we got one night,
One
and
night,
you give your all, and really in theater, obviously every night is you're supposed to perform like it's your last night,
yeah,
like this is your first and last, and so I'm glad that you at least had the chance to have that performance,
yeah.
as frustrating and somewhat anticlimactic as the whole thing might have been. Um, Kiara, how was where were what was your process like? Grappling with the end of your college time.
Well, we had just gotten back from spring break, so when I was going to spring break, everyone in the airport like had masks on, but at that point in time, it was just like everyone's just wearing masks to be like extra because no one really knew what was going on yet.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then we got back to school, and everyone was like, "Zoom University! I'm so excited for Zoom University! Like, cancel school, cancel school!" But no one was really taking in, like the reality of the situation. And in my mind, I'm kind of like, wait, like if they cancel school,
Exactly.
that means like graduation's over. That means all these clubs that
Yeah.
we worked so
Right.
hard on
Damn.
to end of the year things for, that's clipped too. Like
Mhm.
everything that we had been excited for is over. But of course, everyone who still had time at school was like, no, I'm ready for summer. Take me home, take me home. And for me, I had just like I was sitting with my friends, we were watching like the unveiling of this like the Afro Caribbean clubs Miss Soca, their like Caribbean queen, their pageant. Like we were gonna see who all the like women were for the pageant, and then we all get
Mhm.
the notification school is going remote, like for the remainder of the
Mm.
semester. And I was just like, this can't be real. Like this isn't funny. Like it's over. And everyone's screaming. Everyone's so excited. I'm just kind of like, wait, no, I don't like this. And so all my friends, they're like, yeah, let's go out, let's go drink. I'm like, wait, like, okay, yeah, let's go. But like, what's supposed to happen now? Like, what's gonna go down?
Right, but what about?
What about life?
Like,
Like,
yeah,
what's gonna
down
happen
for
with
happy
school?
hour, but still, what about our future?
Yeah.
I'm down to go because it's Thursday, but like at the same time, like, what's going on? And I don't think it really hit me until like my friends who were living in like dorms had to leave. Like they were like, y'all have a week to get out. And I'm just kind of like, whoa, like
Hmm.
we got to go. Like this is for real. This is over. And I think what my whole issue at the time was, I was like, do I really want to be a journalist? Which was like a really bad time to have a whole like quarter life crisis at the end of like
Existential
college.
crisis.
But I'm just kind of like, wow, like, is this what I really want to do? And like, I was starting to answer those questions. I was starting to figure everything out. And then they were like, school's canceled. So I'm like, God, like, is this a sign that I need to drop this and like do something else? Like, should I start investing in another career path? And then I was like, but what if it's a sign that I need to keep pushing?
Hmm.
And I was just kind of like, there's a lot going on. I can't really talk to anyone at all, because everyone's in shambles. And
Right.
then it's like you feel bad for being upset about something like school ending when there are people dying and people getting sick. But then at the same time, it's
Right.
kind of like, this is kind of like a death in a sense, not to that full extent, but it's like the
Hmm.
end of something. And for me, it was just kind of like, wow, like I have to go back home. Like I have to, like, I've changed a lot, but like, what if my family didn't change? Like, what if life back home didn't change? And it's like so much is happening. And like, I just realized we're not in control of anything. And
Yeah.
so it became more so, how am I going to try and adjust and maintain all the growth that like I had inside of me when it feels as though life is never going to be the same ever again.
Mm.
So,
Right.
yeah,
Right. I think, something, both of y'all are so eloquent. I'm really happy that I was able to have you two on, and I was able to convince, especially Kiara on such short notice. I I think something you said, Kiara, that's important is, that realization that, oh, I'm not in control of this. I know for me, I'm a big control freak. It probably runs in the family, and it a weird thing happened where I was like, because I know that there is nothing I can do until, like, it started with the news. I was like, I'm not, like, every time you go on Twitter, Corona. There was a point where like the number of reported cases was trending, the number of deaths per country. I was like, okay, until someone tells me that I have to radically alter my life, or there's something I can be doing to help, like to help abate this, I'm tuning it out, because what is this telling me except that, like, hey, stuff is still bad, you know?
Yeah.
And so what has been helpful for me in a weird way is that total release of control, because, I'm like, this is not anything that anyone has ever, I mean, like, anyone who's still alive has really ever dealt with. Even, you compare it to the 1918 pandemic, but like, that was obviously 100 years ago. And, the the world has changed so much. So like, this is brand new for every single person.
Yeah.
And so rather than trying to like inflict my understanding on it or something, you just, I think that what you said is exactly right. That realization that you don't have control, not letting it be something that causes fear, but I guess finding, like, kind of a serenity in that, or a peace in that. And I think it's helpful, obviously, when you have, I mean, can you imagine, speaking in 1918, can you imagine if we couldn't do this? Like, if we couldn't get
Honestly,
on.
Yeah. Crazy.
you're
Cool,
just
go
stuck in
ahead.
the house with like 5 kids because no one was using
Yeah.
protection then and all, and healthcare was not as advanced as it is now, and even the news cycle, because you're just sitting there not knowing. Test
Yes.
results are taking months to get.
Yeah,
I'm over
exactly.
exaggerating, but you're just stuck in the unknown,
Yeah.
and everyone's dying and everyone's sick, and you're just terrified in the
Yeah.
house. I think we're very lucky compared to 100 years ago.
100%. And the other cool thing about everyone here is that we're all community folk, in the sense that I think largely we've all lived in the same place for most of our lives. I mean, I've lived in this same apartment, not forget the same neighborhood. Like, I've been in
Oh
this
yeah.
room,
Oh
this
yeah.
bedroom,
Oh yeah.
22
Same
years
here.
right here.
Same here.
since day one. And so I kind of wanted to talk a little bit, as I guess we start to wind down, about just what it's been like for y'all to come home, um, to see, obviously, specifically Harlem the way it is, and in Queens, in Abril's case. You know, what are some things that what I want to ask, like, are maybe appreciating anew about your community, or what are some things that you're seeing that are changing in regards to this? Like, I'll start. For a while, my part of Harlem seemed to be kind of holding out on the everything, on masks, on closing down businesses. Like, it seemed like it wasn't really getting through to people up here
Hmm.
yet. And then I noticed, like, maybe it was like the third week of March, I went outside, and I saw the first people with masks. So there was like one night that, like, I stepped out to the deli briefly, and I noticed it was closed, and that's a 24-hour deli
Mm.
right across the street from me, and they were like, we're closed, indefinitely due to the COVID. scare. And I mean, I can say it, because we're past it now. But my dad actually did contract the
Oh shit.
virus, and it was really, it was worrisome. Obviously, what was weird. So y'all remember that Cuomo shut down New Rochelle?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
like the first city that got closed. Well, my dad works in Westchester County, and is frequently, a lot of his offices. He's a probation, parole revocation specialist. He works for the state, so a lot of his offices are in New Rochelle. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, yikes. And then my dad was. I remember one day. This was the week before my birthday. He was like frustrated. He decided to take a few days off for himself because his superiors weren't being clear as to whether or not they were going to impose a work from home mandate or whatever. So he was like, I'm just going to do it myself because y'all, I'm not risking, my life for this. Now, mind you, of course, my dad's 61 years old.
Mm.
He's a healthy guy, but he's 61. I remember then the Friday, he said that it had been reported that a coworker had contracted the virus, and that he was, and that like everyone who had come in contact with him should be tested. So then my dad had to do that whole process, and then on Monday, March 23rd, which was my birthday, is when he got the positive results back.
Jesus
And
Christ.
yeah, that was, obviously talk about like a bad birthday present. That's not how I was thinking about it. But it was frightening because now, mind you, just the day before, like we were acting like everything was fine. My dad and I both did that 1 minute rapid punch challenge, and my dad was like, he got up to like over 300 punches, where it's just like 60 seconds and you throw as many straight jabs and crosses as you can, whatever. He's moving around, he's breathing, whatever. It takes him a while to get his breath back, but he's not like dying.
Yeah.
And so we're thinking that he's completely healthy. But yeah, it was 2 weeks he had to isolate himself from, like, while we were all quarantined, he had to isolate himself in his bedroom because he couldn't,
Where'd your mom sleep?
Well, luckily we have another room where my
Okay,
brother
cool.
used to sleep. Yeah. And so thankfully she was able to sleep and work in there, but it was hard for her, obviously, to not be able to connect to my dad. So he's long recovered now. We're about a month. We're almost a month past, the end of the 2 week period.
Okay.
But I remember like that when he got sick, weirdly enough, was when I started to see also my community start to like change,
Yeah.
And so I'm just wondering, like, for y'all, if there were any changes that you saw around your parts of the block that and then because on the positive note, our church, Kiara, has been running a food pantry, and
That's
they've been delivering food, and they've been letting people come in and get food. So like there's positive adaptations as well. I don't want to make everything so dark and dour.
Yeah.
But yeah, how have you guys, just anyone who wants to go, how have y'all's communities changed?
My hood looks the same, which is comforting. The juice bar, my neighborhood, New Level Juice Bar, is still opening. You can't go in there, but they're still pumping out juices every day.
Mm-hmm.
Target's open. The whole mall on Pleasant Avenue is open.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is pretty much open in my neighborhood except the restaurants to like sit in.
Gotcha.
And guys are still out there working out on the bars with no shirt on. I'm like, yo.
Well, that's good.
Yo, guys are still out there on their dirt bikes. And I was staying in the Bronx with my girlfriend for a while, and just everyone seems like they're following the rules though. Like,
that's good. Yeah.
I think everybody looks more responsible. Like, you know what? I gotta do what I gotta do to try and make this thing stop. And everyone's wearing their mask.
Right.
Everyone is trying to stay 6 feet apart. And for the people who aren't social distancing, that's their problem. But the majority of people are just trying to do the right thing, and that's kind of what shows to me is that everyone in these neighborhoods are just trying to do the right thing and keep everybody safe. And however they can make this go as smoothly as possible, they will do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Ahmad, Abril, Kiara.
If anybody else,
you don't got to force anything, but
I was like, okay, I'll go. The moment I got back, I felt like I didn't want to be here. To be honest, I wanted to be back in Chicago with my folks. I did not want to come back to New York. I swear. But It was like that for a few days. But as soon as I got back, I met up with some friends of mine who live on the block, and we just walked around Harlem, and we didn't really we didn't see anybody with masks on, and for one, we didn't have masks on either, because we were all still in disbelief. Some of them still in disbelief of the virus. You know, they're treating it like it's a regular day, and the stores were still open. But then it wasn't until Cuomo said some shit, and then once I came back out for a walk, it was some stores that were closed. There were stores that were closed, and the Jamaican spot that's right on 135th, right there, that joint's still open.
Yeah. Oh, thank God.
Oh, yeah. Shoot, I'm about to do some Uber Eats today from that place. But I would say that the one thing that I started to do as soon as I came back, I started going on my roof more often. You know, I'm most when I'm in Chicago, I'm always moving. Like anybody could tell you that my friends from Chicago, when they see me walking somewhere, I'm going somewhere and I'm focused. You're not gonna be able to get my attention unless you like step right in front of me. But once I came back, I wasn't doing any of that. I was staying in one spot, and so I decided like I just need some peace. So me going on that roof, bringing my speaker and bringing my book, that's some stuff that is.
And your wine.
Yeah.
What you been reading?
Wine. But I've been reading plays by August Wilson, and it's also for an assignment as well. But I do have 2 other books, no, actually 4. That's a lie. That I had to finish reading. It's one of them is The Destruction of Black Civilization. The other one is Pimp by Iceberg Slim. The Alchemist, and there's another book that's right behind me that I'm looking at. But yeah, and I also want to like learn new things as I'm here. You know, try to get more into knowing about the musical theater history and the industry. I want to know more about muscle anatomy for reasons, and you know, probably kill somebody. But you know, it's I just love. I would say now that being back here, it's nice. It's nice because the plan was to come back after graduation. I just did not think it would happen this early. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely get that.
Well, Harlem is Harlem.
Yeah, it's a good point you make about, you know, input, prioritizing your input, what you're feeding yourself with. Kiara, Abril?
I got back on Wednesday, so I haven't been here for so long. I was like in the little bubble.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I haven't been that long at all. So when I came home, a lot of my stuff is still in Philly because I haven't officially moved out yet. But I took the Greyhound home, which was an experience within itself because it was just weird seeing everyone like masked up, everyone separated, like you weren't allowed inside the station unless your bus was leaving in the next 30 minutes. Like there was just a lot going on. So that was interesting to see because aside from that, I hadn't really seen people with like legitimate masks. But then we get to Harlem, people got polo masks, Chanel masks, Louis Vuitton masks. Everyone was like designer masks all over the place. It's like, okay.
Right.
And I think it's just so interesting to me because I don't see like a lot of white people wearing masks, but everybody else is masked up. And it's interesting because we're arrested for that. So
yeah, literally yesterday I is one of the longest periods of time I've been out since everything with my dad and all that. I went to the deli with my sister to get some sandwiches, and we're in and we one of our favorite delis is actually 2 blocks away from us, so it's a little bit of a walk, but not much. It was nice to get out. And they have like the plastic like vacuum seal over, like the cashier has a plastic covering, and then there's like a little flap that you have to put your stuff through, and then he hands it back to you. The sandwich guy, there's already glass over the food anyway, but then there's plastic over that. I'm in there with my mask. She has her mask. Everything. Everybody's like, whatever. The cashier didn't have a mask on, but I guess he was behind the plastic. And then like in comes this white dude who looks like Edward Snowden.
Oh
And
God.
he is completely uncovered, like completely uncovered, boldly. He doesn't even have a hat on. And I'm like, okay, like, you can't tell anybody what to do. We're all grown, but it is, I think that like people being like defiant about it, but it's so much misinformation is being spread from so many different sources all the time that it's like you could just as fervently believe that there's no reason to protect yourself as everyone else believes that there is. So it's like, again, I agree, Jude, as far as seeing the people that I've grown up seeing in the community, like doing their part, because I think that that's just neighborliness. Like
Yeah.
you want to preserve the community and you don't want to think that you're responsible for making your friend or your neighbor sick. So,
Nah, not at all.
exactly. And the barber shops have been closed. We all been dealing with that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not you, Jude, because you had your girl shave your head.
Yo, my girl, my head, man. I look like Avatar Aang, bro.
So
The baldy.
there's that. But I'm over here, trying to get my Donald Glover going.
There
So
you go.
I mean,
There you go.
Abril, how's Queens? So obviously you're in a whole different borough.
Dog,
You in the house? She in
I'm
the house.
like the representative of Queens right now because it's not looking good. No, so so my job has been remote since early March. And that was even before everybody else. That was probably days before everybody else. I was kind of told to stay home if they can. And so I've been at home and it's been scaring me because I have asthma. So I'm not trying to, original Wheezy. I'm not trying to get fucked up out here. So I was like very vigilant about staying home, about, washing. And I've always been like in middle school, I think we had like a health assembly and I became a germaphobe after that. I was legit like middle school. Abril was like going home, washing her hands. I don't have like my outside clothes on my bed or on my,
What do you Spanish girls in that?
area
My girl does the same thing.
I'm like so anal about that kind of stuff. And so that like germaphobe was like coming back in me. And the thing is that my family was like, fuck it, we're still gonna do whatever. Like, so part of the problem. And then also in my community, I specifically live in Corona, Queens. So how's that for,
Yeah.
But even here, it took a long time in order for me to see people wearing their masks outside. Like I didn't see it until maybe 2 weeks. Like I think I started seeing it like more and more regularly, like 2-3 weeks ago. But people were still like bumping into each other. Like I'm almost getting hit by cars trying to avoid people on the sidewalk, but they're just like chilling, walking, and living their best life. The supermarket is a mess also, just like people with their masks on, but like under their nose. And I'm like, what are you doing that? What is the purpose? What are you hoping? And so that has been, kind of like a frustrating thing because it's like you can't like I think people think that the masks are to help themselves, but it's to help others.
Yeah.
But the fact that they believe that it's to help themselves is, I think, the reason why they're keeping them on, because sometimes people don't care about their neighbors and they're just like, I don't care if you get sick as long as I don't get sick. Like, so and my family has been, their number one news source is definitely WhatsApp. So that's always to deal with. But so yeah, like in terms of that, it's been kind of wild. But and then I haven't had to have that experience of like coming back home as Ahmad and Kiara have, because like I've always been home. Like I went to I was a commuter student. I still live at home now, working full time. And partly it's because, nonprofit doesn't pay enough for me to go get my own place. And then also New York City's so damn expensive that you can't really get your own place unless you live
Anyway,
with
yeah.
19 kids and counting. But you know, it is the longest amount of time that I've spent at home. Like even in the first couple days, it was like the longest amount of time that I spent continuously at home, because I'm, you know, I'm always out and about. I'm always like,
Right.
if it's not at work, I'm getting dinner with my friends or drinks with my friends. I'm like volunteering, doing something. I'm like always like jumping around. And so just, you know, me and my family having to like learn how to be around each other for long periods of time was an adjustment. And everybody's habits, like, you know, exposed at the same time was also an adjustment. So, you know, it was a different, it was a moment, but I think that we're in a good flow now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think in order to avoid ending the show on a sad note, something that Jude and I usually do is we do a song of the week, you know, or songs, something that you've been listening to, or some things that you've been listening to that keep you going, or that, you know, a new maybe musical venture you're taking. So we can do that. And or Ahmad already told us he's been reading on the roof with his Chardonnay in his hand. What are some self-help tactics that y'all have, Abril, Jude, and Kiara? I'll say for myself, I guess just to do both. I am fully now getting into Freddie Gibbs. Thank you, Jude.
My fucking boy right there. That's what I'm talking
Slim Shug himself. And I also just listened to Kehlani's album, which I thought was really good. Just really enjoying, like, one of the things I do like to listen to a lot of music, but it always feels like when the world was as it was, it always felt like I was rushing. I am totally enjoying sitting and listening to a full album because I don't have anything else to do. So that's been one of my self-help things. Abril, Jude, and Kiara, what have you guys been, how have you been coping?
I have been listening to a lot of the Beyonce Lion King album.
That's perfectly okay.
It really hits. And there's just been so, like you said, like I feel like it's, you can listen to music now and you don't have as much distractions as before.
Oh yeah.
The new Janae album was really good, and Loyal by Party Next Door, which is probably not new, and Earthquake by Tyler the Creator. Like those are the things that I have on rotation right now.
Period. Jude?
Oh, yo, just on rotation, it's just been, I'm worried about myself because I just realized, also real quick, rest in peace to my mother, Marissa Steffers. I love you very much.
Yes.
But ever since she got sick, I was just on this heavy Griselda, as I say, gangsta thing, and it's just kind of, I just got pulled into like this like place, and I'm just still there, and I'm worried I'm just gonna be listening to nothing but gangsta music this entire time. But I've been enjoying like those versus battles. There was Erykah Badu last night with Jill Scott.
Let's talk about it.
I'm not into all that, but I was like, I just like the battles that happened, like Lil Jon and T-Pain.
Yeah.
Teddy
Riley
who else?
Babyface.
That was terrible.
Wow. Oh no.
I heard that was bad though. I heard that there was just all types of like technical difficulties.
It was the first time that it happened. The second time was much better. It was much better because Teddy Riley knew what he had to do. Got the people.
That's good to hear.
RZA and Primo, DJ Premier, and next one is Nelly and Ludacris, which I find interesting. But I've just been I'm also taking a part of this 10,000 kettlebell swing challenge for the entire month of May. I'm at like,
oh nice.
I'm at like 2,000 something. I've done 0 swings the last couple of days and I'm dying. And I was like binging. I was just binging Netflix and I was wilding. So.
Well, yeah, funny enough, my dad actually was asking about your kettlebell certification the other day because he knows that you're certified with it. So he was like, yeah, what's Jude and kettlebells? What's he up to? You know, and I was like, I'm not sure if he's going for another thing or what. So 20,000, that's
just
wow.
10, nigga. 10.
Oh, 10. Okay. 20,000 will be next month.
Hell no. Hell no. I did this before, and I'm like, how did I do this? I was wilding.
I remember when you did it too. You you were on something different.
I was on something different. Like, I just put on DMX, go to the gym, and just boom, boom, boom.
You were working through something. Kiara, dear, you can lead us out with your self-care tactics.
I got more, but Kiara.
Oh, Ahmad, you have more?
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, my bad. Go ahead.
I'm crying. It's okay.
I gotta be the referee like last night, bro.
I've been listening to the Savage remix on repeat for a very
same
time. You know?
Oh my god!
Real quick. I'm sorry. The better version of that song is Carol Baskin.
Oh,
killed her husband.
I could not finish that show. I was very uncomfortable watching Tiger King, but in other words, I've been like reading too. I've been trying to I said that I want to read 20 books in 2020 because I like that idea. So far I have one book down, so I got a long way to go.
Okay, progress.
Yeah, so that's basically what I've been doing. And taking walks with my mask and gloves on, but
beautiful. That's a nice daishiki mask you have there too. I saw it in your graduation photo. Stylish. Okay, Ahmad, sir.
Oh God.
If you would forgive me.
Okay. It's all right, sir. You know, I'm a white man. So, I've been basically bumping albums as well. I had just sent y'all this Chicago R&B artist. His name is Melvin Knight. He's fire. I'm not gonna lie to you, but bump that. Yeah. I'm pretty sure y'all would like that if y'all into R&B. But I've just been bumping a lot of D'Angelo. I've been the Voodoo album. Well, actually, all of his albums are fucking fire. Let me not. And I've just been my mom. She bought me the speaker, and I've just been playing, you know, a lot of old school. I've been bumping to Charlie Wilson. I was listening to a lot of Travis Scott. You know, his new single that came out with Kid Cudi was pretty dope. But I would say mostly walks and trying to get these calisthenics up. I got these resistance bands for when I work.
I got to get myself some of those too. Yeah,
dude, they are fire. And you know, I've just been you know, training, still trying to do my stuff. I ran into one of my students yesterday when I was in Key Food, and I knew her from her eyes. Her eyes are very distinctive before in anybody. So I looked at her, I said, Madison. She was like, how'd you know it was me? And I said, because your eyes. And she was like, well, that's weird. And I tell her, but I was like, well, you're kind of like an alien, so you know, you kind of stick out.
You stand out a little bit,
you know. But yeah, I just love going on walks, and I'm trying to bust these roller skates out and just skate everywhere. That's what I want.
Yeah, man. Yeah, now's the time. The streets are clear. You won't get hit. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have your music recommendations for the week. And that's a wrap for us today, beloveds. If you want more Uptown Love, you can find our episodes new and old on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. I want to thank all our guests for joining us. I want to wish everybody a happy Mother's Day around Harlem and around New York and around the States if we have listeners in, like, I don't know, Idaho.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going international, man.
Okay.
And we'll be back on May 24th with an episode dedicated to fitness and staying healthy during the COVID era. So I know Jude's going to have a lot to say then, Mr. Kettlebell Swings. So thanks again for tuning in with us. Thanks for kicking it with us, y'all. Be easy.
Peace, everybody. Hey, out here.
Peace out.